My dear friends, today's chapter is white collar crimes. I am Umesh Rao. Now I am speaking about the forms of gender based deviance. In this class, we are taking dowry. What is dowry? What is the social evils of dowry? And to prevent the evils of dowry, government has introduced Dowry Prohibitions Act 1967 and its punishment for dowry death. And what is cruelty? Next, sexual offences, rape, prostitution, abortion, harassment. To prevent prostitution, government has introduced Immoral Traffic Prevention Act 1956 and to check abortion to a certain extent, Prenatal Diagnostics Act was introduced. Now, forms of gender based deviance, that is gender based aggression. Women are the victims of the gender based aggression. Normally, it is found in upper class, and upper class are committing this act. The forms of gender based aggressions are, we can classify it. One, dowry. Second, attached to dowry, that cruelty. What is cruelty? That also you have to study. And sexual offences. Sexual offences, rape, prostitution, abortion, and harassment. And features of the Immoral Traffic Act 1956 and Prenatal Diagnostics Techniques Act. Now, dowry. What is dowry? Dowry is a word. It is very common in Indian household. It is a practice followed in Indian society which has eroded the beautiful institution of marriage. Dowry is practiced in our society for a long time, but government could not eradicate it. Now government has made laws to prohibit the practice of dowry, that is Dowry Prohibition Act. So question is, what is dowry? According to Dowry Prohibition Act 1961, the term dowry means any property or valuable security given or agreed to be given to whom? By one party to a marriage to the other party to the marriage, or by parent to the either party to the marriage, or by any other person to either party to the marriage or any other person, when before or any time after the marriage, but it doesn't include dower or mahr in the case of Muslim personal law. Now, what is the social evils of dowry? Why prohibition of dowry is required? The practice of dowry has many ill effects on the society. First one, female particide. If female child is born, then she would turn out to be a liability burden on our parents. Lot of money could have to be spent in her marriage. Therefore, people, in order to avoid problem, go for abortion or for killing of the woman, killing of the female child in the mother's womb. Second is the suicide by young girls. Parents are not able to marry off their daughters because of dowry. This brings harassment to the family, which leads the young girls to commit suicide to bring an end to the mental harassment to their families. And uneducation of girls. Many families doesn't give good education to daughters with a thought, and they want to save money. Money saved in education is used for the purpose of dowry. Girls are subjected to mental harassment because some girls are in dark color, lack of good physical appearances. Parents think that they to marry off the girl, lot of dowry has to be given. It causes mental harassment to the dowry. So to prevent all these things, government has introduced Dowry Prohibition Act of 1961. What is the salient features of the Dowry Prohibition Act? It imposes penalty. First, penalty for giving and taking dowry, penalty for demanding dowry, and dowry death, penalty for causing dowry death. So, penalty for giving and taking dowry. Any person gives or takes or abates the giving or taking of dowry shall be punished with imprisonment less than 5 years and with fine not less than 15 years or the value of the dowry whichever is more. Now, penalty for demanding dowry. Any person directly or indirectly demands dowry from parents, relatives, guardians of the bride or bridegroom shall be punished with imprisonment of not less than 6 months, which may extend to 2 years, and fine which may extend to 10,000. Now, dowry death. What is dowry death? Death of a woman caused by burns or bodily injuries otherwise than under normal circumstances. It is called dowry death. It is caused within 7 years of their marriage. It shows that she has subjected to cruelty or harassment by her husband or any relatives of her husband in connection with the dowry demand. Death shall be called dowry death. What is the punishment for dowry death? Person commits any dowry death shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 7 years and which may extend to the imprisonment for life. But there are conditions. What? That there is a demand of dowry and harassment by the accused, that the deceased had died, that the death under unnatural circumstances, death within 7 years of marriage. Now we will talk about cruelty. Cruelty. What is cruelty? Death of a woman caused by burns or bodily injury other than normal circumstances, and it is caused within 7 years of her marriage. It, it is shown that she is subjected to cruelty or harassment by her husband or relatives. Then what is cruelty? This cruelty means husband or relatives of husband of a woman subjecting her to cruelty shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 years and fine. So, what is the meaning of cruelty? It is harassment of the woman. What is the purpose of harassment? Harassment with a view to coercing her to meet the unlawful demand for any property or valuable security, or failure by her to meet such demand. It applies to person related to her also. It is any willful conduct which is likely to drive women to commit suicide or cause grave injury to the life, health, mental or physical of women. Now we are discussing about sexual harassment one by one. One, abortion, another, prostitution, third one, rape. Now we will talk about abortion. What is the meaning of abortion? Abortion means expulsion of a fetus from the uterus before it has reached the stage of viability. Means above 20 weeks of gestation period. Abortion may occur spontaneously. It is called miscarriage. Or it may occur, it may be brought purposely. It is called abortion. Why people are doing abortion? There are so many reasons. For example, to preserve the life and physical or mental well-being of mother, sometimes abortion has to be done. Second, to prevent the completion of a unwanted pregnancy that has resulted from rape. Third, to prevent the birth of a child with serious deformity, mental deficiency, or genetic abnormality. Last one is to prevent the birth because of the social and economical reasons. Extreme youth of the pregnant female or no resources with the family members. So, causing miscarriage, punishment for abortion is that government says whoever voluntarily causes woman with a child to miscarry, if miscarriage is not caused with good faith for the purpose of saving the life of the woman, is punished with imprisonment which may extend to 3 years or fine or both. So, what is the punishment for abortion? Section 312 says, first, whoever voluntarily causes woman with child to miscarry, the miscarry is not with the good intention, good faith. It is for not for saving the life of the woman. Then he is punished with imprisonment, which may extend to 3 years or fine or both. If woman is quick with child, imprisonment may extend to 7 years of time also. 7 years plus fine is also that way. Now, the government has introduced a Prenatal Diagnostics Techniques Act. Why this act was introduced? It is a prohibition of sex selection. It is enacted to stop the female foeticide. People want to kill the girl child by causing abortion. Purpose is to stop the decline of women population. What is the salient features of the act? It imposes absolute prohibition of sex determination. It imposes strictly no communication can be made about the sex of the fetus in any manner. So, every institution or every medical center conducting the test must be registered under the Act and registration under proper authority. Every institution or center shall send application for registration before the authority. Application fees around 3 to 4,000 payable. Registration authority will issue certificate to the institute or center. Certificate must be displayed in the center. So certificate is valid for 5 years. Before conducting a test, a form must be filled. Form contains patient's details, indication of test, patient's declaration that she does not want to know the sex of the fetus, and second, doctor's declaration that she has not determined the sex of the child. So, institutes must maintain all the records, and every institute or center must display a notice saying that sex determination is prohibited under law. For non-fulfilling of the rules is punishable. Now we are talking of prostitution. What is the prostitution? It is the practice of engaging indiscriminate sexual activity with someone who is not a spouse or not a friend. It is exchange for the immediate payment of money or other valuables. Prostitution may be male, female, or transgender. It may be heterosexual or homosexual activity. Normally, prostitutes are women and clients are men. In some society, prostitution recognized as a profession. So, reasons for the prostitution, it is social customs and economical backwardness of the society and poverty. Government has introduced a punishment for the prostitution, section 372 of the RPC. It says selling of minor for prostitution. Whoever sells, lets to hire or disposes of any person under the age of 18 years, such person shall be punished with imprisonment of term which may extend to 10 years and it shall be liable for it. Secondly, government has introduced Immoral Traffic Prevention Act 1956. The law enforcement agencies became more concerned with the regulating the crimes associated with crimes of prostitution. Authorities are intervened to prevent the girls from being coerced into prostitution. In this regard, government has introduced Immoral Traffic Prevention Act 1956. It deals with punishment for keeping the brothel or allowing the premises to be used for brothel. Now, we will discuss what is the punishment as per Immoral Traffic Act 1956. It speaks about the person who keeps the brothel. Then, person who keeps the brothel, he may be tenant, he may be lessee, he may be an occupier, he may be a manager, or he may be landlord or owner. They are liable for punishment. What is the punishment to person who keeps the brothel? There are two categories. One, person who keeps the brothel and convicted for the first time, first offense. Second, person who keeps the brothel for subsequent offense, conviction. Now, person who keeps the brothel and convicted for the first time, imprisonment not less than 1 year to not more than 3 years and fine of rupees 2000. Person who keep the brothel for subsequent conviction, imprisonment not less than 2 years to not more than 5 years and fine of rupees 2000. Punishment for living on the earnings of the prostitution. It speaks person over the age of 18 years, person knowingly living with the earnings of the prostitution, he shall be punished with imprisonment. Imprisonment may extend to 2 years and fine of rupees 1000. Next, punishment of living on the earnings of the prostitution, earnings related to prostitution of the child or minor, then imprisonment for a period of 7 years to up to 10 years, fine of rupees 2000. Next, any person who detains a woman with or with her consent, imprisonment of 7 years or fine. Now, person who deals with the prostitution within the vicinity of the public places, within 20 meters of any religious place, educational institutions, hostel, hospital, or nursing home. So, punishable and imprisonment for a term may extend to 3 months. And person who seducing or soliciting the woman for the purpose of prostitution, first conviction 6 months, fine 500. Subsequent conviction 1 year, fine 500. So person seducing the woman in the custody or home, then 7 years to 10 years imprisonment is fixed. We will talk about another subject, rape. What is a rape? Rape means unlawful sexual activity. It involves sexual intercourse against her will, with or without her consent. So, against her will, one condition, without her consent. Now, first we will talk with her consent. When consent has been obtained, putting her or any person whom she is interested in the fear of death or hurt, consent has obtained, putting pressure on her or pressure on her to her relatives. And next one, with her consent, here man knows he is not her husband, but her consent has given because she believes that he is another man, he is married lawfully to her. Next one is with her consent. At the time of giving such consent, she is suffering of unsoundness of mind. She is intoxicated. She is unable to understand the nature and consequences which she gives consent. Next one, with or without consent, she is under the 18 years of age. When she is unable to communicate consent, she is minor or mental deficiency or unconscious. So, the victim of rape may be either gender or a child, but most often it is committed by a male against female. Why the rape is underreported and under-prosecuted? The rape is happening in all over the world to every day, but it is not reported. As well as if it is reported also, it is under-prosecuted because of the following reasons. It is unreported because to protect the woman from humiliating cross-examination in the court. And another main reason is the psychological reactions of the rape victims, including feelings, shame, humiliation, fear, and rage. So, what is the punishment for rape? Section 376 provides punishment for rape. Whoever commits the rape shall be punished with rigorous imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 10 years, but it may be extended to imprisonment for life or fine. Now, last one, sexual harassment at workplace. This we have dealt separately in another chapter. Here it is women's involvement in work becomes unsafe and affects the right to work with dignity. It affects working condition or creates a hostile working environment. It may endanger the victim's job and job performance. So sexual harassment includes verbal innuendo, inappropriate affectionate gestures or prostitution or propositions for the sexual favors or molestations. The end.